Hey everyone, I'm Des.
And I'm Liz.
And we're the Historians podcast. Coming at you today with my topic for the week. I am so freaking excited. Okay.
What
was that? Oh my god.
I'm so excited because I want to talk to you about this. You keep toying with me.
I have been torturing Liz this week.
We live together, so of course she's reading these things and then she goes,
ooh.
And then I go, I want to know what
this is gonna be a wild ride, girl. You're not gonna believe what happens. You're not gonna believe with who.
I feel like a fiend.
Truly.
I'm itching.
And this is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. You might actually have heard of this person at some point because during our master's program, I mentioned them a few times. Now, my thesis didn't have to do with this person. They were just mentioned in my thesis. Okay. So I picked one of the people.
You never let me read your thesis.
Because it was shit.
I mean, same, but like...
You ever write something and like you look... Like I got graded fine on it, but like you get something back and you grow as a person and then you read it again and you're like, honey...
Who was she?
I'm glad that we're, evolving and that we can 100%. Look at it like that, but damn. So before we get too into who we're doing this presentation on today, I had Liz look up for her Google search, cohabitation and prostitution in the Victorian era.
Yes. And what came to mind immediately, just because it's the way that my mind works, it was Jack the Ripper.
Right. And I immediately shot her down. I was like, I am so sorry. That's more of like a Halloween episode vibe. That is not what this is about.
I was like taking notes. Yes, but this just sparked in my brain. And it's very interesting because, of course, as a historian and everything, thinking about gender roles throughout history is very interesting and a fun thought exercise if you would like. So something that stood out in what I was looking at was that in the 1800s, and so the 19th century, about 1.3% of the female population worked in the business, which is sex work, before 1850, and it increased to over 2% after the mid-century. And so I was very surprised at that because I don't think that people understand just how large 2% of a population is. It really is huge. But this is also in America. So I'm sorry if it's not in America.
That's okay. It's more so it was the important part was the vibe. But like the general themes of why this is such a taboo topic and how it's just one of those things.
But then also something that made me think also is, what's the percentage nowadays? It's 6% nowadays for men and women who take part in sex work. 12% of men admit to buying it, as opposed to 1% of women. But that's also who's admitting that, But then I was like, oh, but let's look deeper into this. And this could be grasping at straws. And I was like, well, men are conditioned to think their only contributions are related to money. So they see money, throw it at something.
Right.
You get what want.
They're more willing.
And I'm like, oh, that's a condition.
Right.
That's a conditioned thing. And so it's like, it might be a little bit more go-to for men instead of women being like, oh, well, it's more taboo. It's if that shows up on my credit card.
right. And also the ingrained thriftiness for especially the middle to lower classes in America.
Yes, fully. Where it's like, oh no, I got a site for that.
Yeah.
But so I also, a theme that comes up is women are ostracized for it, while men, it's kind of just a thing that happens. Like, I don't know how often did you get in your friend group well, would you suck a dick for $500? And the guy's going like, no, well, maybe like 1,000, only 1,000, 50,000. And I'm like, oh, darling.
Girl, we've been doing it for free.
And then we're not the entrepreneurs.
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus, my family listens to this.
Listen, if our family is listening, we did not theoretically suck any dongs. Theoretical dongs.
Alleged dongs.
Alleged dongs. Okay?
Allegedly. So, back to the topic at hand. I thought of the cohabitation and everything, and how I've read about a lot of artists and authors and everything where it's like the man is able to succeed and excel in their profession, while the female counterpart, who could be like band for band,
Yeah.
acclamation per acclamation equal to this man, but something that's like, well, yes, he's married, but he lives with his mistress out on the bay.
Right.
Well, she's like, well, she's a good scholar, but she lives with a married man.
And it immediately takes her respect and her societal worth down a notch.
Mm-hmm.
Notches in many cases.
Yeah.
You could have been the smartest, most articulate woman.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were a prostitute, then that just meant you were the world's most articulate, fun prostitute. It meant you almost became subhuman.
Yes. Or were you a prostitute, or were you put in a situation and then society deems you a prostitute? So then you just, what else are you going to do in that time?
And you will find that is something that the person can hardly ever dig herself back out of.
Which also, we're using the word prostitute. I want to take the word back, but
right, but like any sort of sex work, any
sex
sort
workers, we are very.
And even just the cohabitation, you could have been a perfectly normal woman who just, happened to really want to hang out.
You'd get a scarlet letter.
And you'd get the scarlet letter. You would officially be damaged goods.
Yep.
And there would be, and most importantly, no laws protecting you.
Mm-mm. And then thinking about like muses, more than likely they were cohabitating with their muses as well. And then it's like, well, she's only known as his muse. And it's like, well, she was an artist as well. And here's some of her work.
Often she's wonderful. Very comparable skills.
Yes. Like how did he meet her? She was working under him. She was learning under him. And then we get into one of my favorite paintings, and that's for a whole other episode. Sorry, tangent.
No, you're good. This is all very important to this episode because we're going to be talking about somebody whose reputation was so tainted it changed every single person she came into contact's view of her, and yet there is no proof that she ever was a prostitute.
Oh my gosh, this kind of like goes along with the gossip and everything with like Cornbury, where it's like there's no proof.
There's no actual proof, and so this is going to be,
it's clung to their image,
and it is so ingrained, and biographers went on and just perpetuated, and it snowballed, and it's like, where did they ever get this information? Because it's not at the source.
Those are some of my favorite stories, though, is trying to find where the source came from, and then you can't, and you're like, liars.
Today we're going to be gossiping about gossipers, and we're going to be kind of in this discussion that possibly many women who lived in the same neighborhood also shared about this woman.
Oh, we're taking a step back in time.
Take a little
drinky poo of your tea.
Take a little drink of your tea, everybody. If you're in the car, take a deep breath.
Okay. I'm ready.
Okay, everyone. A topic near and dear to my heart. One of the most underappreciated muses of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood. Ladies and gentlemen, drum roll. Today we're going to be talking about Fanny Cornforth.
I love Fanny!
Fanny Cornforth!
I'm so sorry.
Now, well, you probably remember in college, in our master's program, my thesis was on the muses of the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood.
Yes.
And so I only got to barely touch upon Fanny Cornforth. And
And
honestly,
you moaned about that. You were bemoaning.
she was my favorite. And
Yeah.
there was the least amount of information on her. And thankfully, in the couple of years following, more information has come to light.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And in a big part, I do want to say thank you to Christy Stonell Walker. She has done tons of research. It's kind of like her specialty. And because of her tenacity with hunting down this information, we now have more primary resources, and we have uncovered things that previously, when I was writing my thesis, we did not know about. And Fanny is near and dear to my heart as a topic. So I am so excited today to take you on this journey. It will make you laugh. It'll make you cry. It'll make you so fucking pissed. I could go on. So before we get into Fanny Cornforth, you're probably asking, Desi, what the fuck is the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood? It sounds insane. Is it like the Ninja Turtles? There's Raphael in there. What the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood is.
What the Pre-Raphaelite is this?
That is a swear I should do it in the house.
Truly.
So the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood was created in 1848 by a group of young artists who essentially wanted to go against the Royal Academy. The Royal Academy was like super into the works of Raphael and the greats, and they really just wanted everybody to emulate that. And they were like, dude, this is art. I'm gonna do what I fucking want.
Are you trying to police my art, brother?
Right. So they made this secret society of painters and poets and sculptors and everybody.
Why it always gotta be a secret society?
Because they were kind of gothy. They were kind of like, nobody understands us.
You know, I say why, but I understand.
Yeah.
100%.
They wanted a movement, and their movement was Pre-Raphaelite. So they wanted to focus on the works of people who came before Raphael and kind of focus on these kind of maiden-esque medieval types, wispy, emotional paintings and a vibe to it.
Oh, yes.
And for that, you need muses who inspire you to create these sorts of images. And Fanny Cornforth just happened to fall in the crosshairs of one of the founding members of this movement, Dante Gabriel Rossetti.
Can I just say my heart is fluttering. I am so excited. I know that my eyes are going to be feasting. I just know.
I did put a lot of paintings in this. So
I love it. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
And anybody watching on YouTube, our little presentation, you get to see the photos as well. So
yes.
So let's look at Fanny Cornforth's origin story. Now, obviously, this Fanny Cornforth name is a performative name. It is not her actual birth name. Her real name was Sarah Cox. And here's the problem. A lot of biographers, for the longest time, thought that there was one Sarah Cox, and she was much older, and they had this whole story painted that, oh, Rossetti fell under the influence of this older woman, and she, like, took his virginity, and, like, that was not the truth. There actually were two Sarah Coxes, and the one was actually the real Sarah Cox's aunt. So obviously much older. Our Sarah Cox
could also possibly add another layer to the gossip, the unknown gossip.
Oh, older woman.
Did you not hear?
Tainted this poor young artist.
He used to be seen with an older woman.
Yeah. So the real Sarah Cox was actually born in 1835 to William Cox and Jane Woolgar in Steyning, England. So her family were blacksmiths as trade, and so was her father, obviously. He married Jane in 1834, so she was already pregnant with Sarah at this time.
Scandal.
Exactly. And that was possibly why he got skipped over to inherit his family's forge. His brother got it instead.
He didn't get the forge?
No.
Ugh.
Well, Jane was also illiterate and, you know, barefoot and pregnant at this point. It did not look good. Who wasn't? Well, this family was kind of new to not being like that.
Oh,
so they didn't
remember who my family's.
They didn't want to perpetuate that. They moved up. They had a trade. They didn't want to see themselves like that. So,
they had a family trade. Yeah, that would be passed down.
Yeah. So he kind of was dating down.
Oh yeah.
And you know they get married, and they go on to have 6 children. Only 2 would end up surviving. All of the other 4 died before the ages of 2 years old. So Fanny lived. And she ended up going to school until about 12 years old. So we can assume she has this basic education at this point. You know,
12 is actually...
That's decent for back then. You know, it's not fabulous.
I mean,
but
she
it's
wasn't
decent.
sent off to go earn money for the family.
Exactly, not yet. So her mother ends up dying
Oh.
in 1847 at the age of 32. And her whole childhood is painted with these family deaths. And the main killer is suspected to be pulmonary tuberculosis. So it's everywhere, man.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. So her child is surrounded by death and also financial instability. Her father has to find work outside of the family forge, essentially.
Yeah.
So her dad ends up leaving Staining with all of the remaining family to make a living in Brighton as a railway worker. He ends up getting remarried to a woman named Harriet Maybank, and he actually has a child with her named Mary. We're fairly certain, that Sarah had stopped her schooling by this point when they moved. And she ends up taking on a servant job for a Mr. and Mrs. Worger. So that's when she begins to kind of have to earn money for the family in that sort of sense. But it's relatively short-lived because the tides begin to change again. In 1854, the family is back down on their luck and they return to Staining. Her father is now ill and baby Mary has passed away. For Fanny, well, I'm going to say, I guess at this point, Sarah, this will be returning to a place of profound loss. Everybody you know and loved has died in this place, and nothing good has ever happened for you here. And you get to break away, make your own living, have this new beginning, and all of a sudden it's taken away. And you have to go back to that place.
Too many ghosts.
Right. Too many ghosts. Thankfully, in 1856, Sarah receives an invitation to London from a relative asking to attend the Florence Nightingale fete. We don't know which relative exactly. Some say it's an aunt, some say it was possibly a cousin, but they're a distant relative and they invite her to come out to this big party. There were over 20,000 people in attendance to this party, and Florence fucking Nightingale wasn't even there.
What the hell?
So
when did she die?
What, she didn't die? Alive? She was alive. These soldiers had come back, and they had a banner up with her name on it that's written down everywhere. So this party definitely happened. Like, the banner had her name on it celebrating her, but she wasn't in attendance. So it really wasn't a Florence Nightingale fete or fete, whatever you want to call it. I don't know what it's called.
It's essentially a festival.
Yeah. So also this garden was kind of relatively new, so like, it was ready for like a big celebration to
They
host.
literally invited, they're like the people who invite the Pope, the president to their weddings.
Yes.
And then they're like, I got an invitation, or not an invitation, but I got a gift card or something.
Yeah.
Or I got a letter back.
So she goes to this party, and it's there at this party that she meets Dante Gabriel Rossetti. Now, there are two main stories and rumors as to how this actually happened. So the first story that we have, and also the most unreliable, is the cracking nuts theory. That is that she was standing on the street, cracking nuts with her teeth, like an animal, and spitting out the shells, and saw Rossetti gawking at her, and she spit out a nutshell at him, and he was so overcome with how this raw, rough-cut diamond approached him with like this that he just had to paint her.
I know this is some rich asshole's rumor because because they're the only people who would think that poor people would crack nuts with their teeth. No, honey, we're working in the mines. We're cracking nuts with our fucking hands. No, we also have only so many teeth, and they're already falling out. Why would we risk them?
Right. You'd imagine her being in such worse shape at this point than she's this young, beautiful girl at this point. And this is a rumor that we suppose to be began by someone named William Bell Scott. Now, he was also around with the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood, and he was a fellow painter. And he did not like Fanny at all. He made that in no uncertain terms that he did not like her. The only place this was written down was in his sources. So we think it was a rumor started by him. The second,
was he a rich asshole?
I don't know how rich he was, but I know he's well known enough. Asshole. He's well known in history, but I think he was just kind of uppity.
Yep. Sorry.
The second option is Fanny's point of view on the story, and it's considered more likely because people have backed it up saying, yeah, Rossetti did stuff like this.
Yeah.
So Fanny's part of it is that she was at this festival she was attending with her relative. And along comes Rossetti and his group of friends, and he accidentally knocks into her and takes her hairpin out so that it falls down. And so he sees all her beautiful long hair, and he's like, he calls her a stunner and says, oh, would you please come do a sitting for me? I would love to have you at my studio. And she takes him up on it. That seems a whole lot more likely considering that Rossetti has done this with his friends multiple times to different people.
Yeah. It's smooth. It's what thought out.
Yeah, they want to see what they're working with. They were really obsessed with the hair, you'll see. So the hair was an important part.
And the fact that most women had a hairpin.
Yeah. Yeah. And it could easily topple out, kind of thing. It was simply done, and it was just something it was considered rude.
Yes.
Like she would have been like, oh, the chica him.
Exactly.
Like,
no, it's
how
like
dare he?
Snapping somebody's bra.
It's snapping somebody's bra. Yeah, and then they're like, oh, please, I apologize so much. Would you please come sit for me? And
your shoulder blade, it's so alluring.
So alluring. So she takes him up on it. I mean, really, if you think about it at this point, she doesn't have anything to lose.
No.
So she goes with him and poses for his painting called Found. And on the screen, you'll see a painting of it. It's not a finished painting. It never was. They ended up blue washing the background to sell it later. So it has severe implications about prostitution. And it's all about this fallen woman image. You can see Fanny is propped up against a wall where she has been found by supposedly this past lover. And he's like seeing how she's a prostitute now and how like, oh my gosh, how did this happen to you? And she's like, don't look at me,
Yeah.
So this also enters Fanny's professional name. So at this point, she is going by Fanny. The last name Cornforth will be added later in her story. But
when did the British start calling
Fanny a slang term for minge? I don't know. And minge a slang term for puss.
Because if she only started using Fanny after she met this guy, I'm wondering if it's
no. I think it was after this because she had a younger sister who died named Fanny.
Okay.
So some believe that she adopted that name in honor of her sister.
Get love.
So that, could be a possibility. Either way, this is kind of a very rough work for Rossetti. And I will call him Roz at some point just because it's easier. But we see a change in Rossetti's style from previous models like Elizabeth Siddall. Those were very medieval, wispy, sickly.
Yeah.
And Fanny is always such a bodacious, bright, full-bodied person. And so Found is like this super, exemplary work for Rossetti, but also for Fanny, because this begins the narrative, it feels like, physically, to see the narrative of this fallen woman image.
It's very interesting as well, if you'd want to look very deep into it, that the first image that he used her image for is called Found.
Right.
My muse.
I found.
And I'm sure he superimposes himself a little bit in things as well.
Oh, yeah. So then in comes a man called George Price Boyce. He was kind of like a womanizer. He liked to hang around the Pre-Raphaelites. And he met Fanny in 1858, saying he enjoyed her interesting face, her jolly hair, and engaging disposition. He, for a couple years, is kind of like a possible love interest / maybe just a very tolerable client. We don't know. Because we don't know if Fanny is actually in the sex work business. No one can ever prove it, but people speculate that, maybe he was like a tolerable client. He had a lot of money to throw around. He would give her all these different gifts.
So it's just a known thing that he was seen around, like
her and Roz. So they all hung out. Like they all kind of shared her.
Okay.
So that's another reason why it looks so bad for her. And she also continues to pose for fallen woman pieces for people even, who aren't Rossetti, including John Rodham Spencer Stanhope. It's another famous Pre-Raphaelite. Moving on up, Fanny has a really good year in 1859.
This is all within the same decade as well.
Yes.
I just noticed.
Yeah. You're going to see there's going to be a lot of year markers just because it's hard to keep up.
Yeah.
So
just a lot has already happened.
Yeah, it's insane. She moves from Dean Street, which is in Soho, which is the prostitution district, to Tennyson Street to be closer to Boyce and Ross. And this might have marked the end of her Soho days, if she ever had any. We don't know, if she was a prostitute. But if she was, we think this might have moved her away from that.
It could have been Laverne and Shirley in it.
You just don't know.
Cheap rent is cheap rent.
There's no proof. And this was likely, 100% funded by Ross and Boyce. They wanted her closer for, to keep her not having to travel to see them. And they also gave her lots of gifts. Some examples.
At their beck and call.
Oh, yes. They wanted her at her beck and call.
Yeah.
They gave her tons of gifts. I think from Boyce, he had some examples. He'd given her a silver thimble, some paintings, a whole sovereign. And if you think about it from Fanny's point of view.
With a sovereign?
A sovereign is money. But it's like a large quantity of money back then.
I was thinking of a tiny little king.
It'd be like someone giving you $100 bill and thinking you're acting like it's a $1 bill kind of thing. You're like, oh yeah, here have some spending money, and it's like $1,000. You're like, oh damn.
Yeah.
Like a lump sum. He gave her a lump sum of money. Yeah. And
okay.
If you think about it, these gifts to Fanny would in a way kind of equal the security that she's not had. She grew up with emotional instability, financial instability, and all of a sudden she's getting these gifts from men, and
her bills are paid. She pays her bills.
Yeah. So this can only be a good thing.
Or she gets her bills paid.
Right. This can only be a good thing for her.
Yeah.
Her next big painting, and there's lots of paintings in between, but the next painting I thought was worth mentioning is that she sits for a piece called Bocca Baciata, which essentially means the kissed mouth. Boyce ends up buying this, and this was made, by Rossetti. Most of what I'm going to be talking about from now on is done by Dante Gabriel Rossetti. And unfortunately, he is going to be intertwined in the story quite a bit, so you'll hear me talk about him just as much as her. Mm-hmm. But there was a quote from another author named Arthur Hughes saying that he was afraid he'd kiss the dear thing's mouth away. So it just goes to show how much Boyce really doted on Fanny, and how much
obsessed.
He was obsessed. And how could you blame him? This is Bocca Baciata. It is a beautiful painting. It's one of my favorite paintings of Fanny. The light is just so golden hour, beautiful, voluptuous. The lips have this shine to them that give that impression of the kissed mouth. You've just finished kissing someone, and you have this daze.
It's the blood rushing to the lips.
And back then, this was very sensual. This was a very sensual piece. He also, Roz would make poems to go along with some of these, and they were all kind of hookery as well. Like, he did not do her any favors.
Damn, Roz.
I know, but he loved that about her, and that's the problem, is he was so into it, he didn't care that nobody else was.
And did anybody, write down, but granted, again, did anybody ever write down any thoughts of the women around them? No. What was her take?
Oh, we have her take on some of these things.
Love it. Amen.
So, going on to Ross's point of view with what's going on in the later 1859 year, Ross's weakness is he compartmentalizes women. So he's a cheater, he's no good, low down. He has these multiple women. He's bad at a lot of other things too, but we'll find out about those later. 2 women at this year re-enter Ross's life. The first one is Annie Miller. She is a past model and was a prostitute. And she comes, gives him a calling card, which is very fancy. She's moved up in the world and no longer is a prostitute.
Especially if she's leaving a calling card.
I think she married at this point too. So she's out of that lifestyle now.
Yeah.
But she left a calling card, and him and Boyce end up hanging out with her for a week or two, painting, whatever, doting on her like they would for Fanny.
Yeah.
And she's not really a threat to Fanny, though. She just temporarily displaces her. Mm-hmm. But the one that is a threat is Elizabeth Siddall, Ross's old flame that he can't seem to put out. Now, she had been sidelined for Fanny in the spring of 1858.
This is all within 2 years.
This is all within 2 years. This is so messy.
How old are they? How old are they at this moment?
Young. I mean, she was born in 1835, so she's
I'm not even talking about
20s.
About Fanny. I'm talking about these men.
Oh, who knows? I didn't pay attention to that. It's not about the men.
But oh my gosh, it's just.
Oh, Hank buckle fucking up. put your helmet on.
We're clicking in.
So, in April 13th of 1860, Elizabeth Siddall is supposedly on her deathbed. She writes to Roz saying that she wants to say goodbye to her old flame and, see her out of this life.
Mm-hmm.
Ross goes, and he does this stupid thing. He makes her all these empty promises, like, if only you would make it, I would marry you right here.
Oh, jeez.
Bitch, she recovers!
She said, say no more.
She said, say no more, I'm feeling much better.
We should go ring shopping.
Truly. And she has this very delicate constitution, you'll see, but so she recovers and he has to marry her. He marries this bitch. All the while, Fanny has no idea.
Well, if I don't keep my word, what do I have?
He has no clue. Jeez. So Boyce ends up writing about Fanny's reaction because, he was obviously with her, and he said that she had taken ill. So she didn't freak out, but she all of a sudden was not feeling well. And she's a very hardy gal. She was not feeling good about this. Because if you think about it, she likely had no intentions of complete marriage with Rossetti.
No.
But now her livelihood is in the toilet.
It's the blindsidedness of it.
Yes.
It's
1 minute you're at the pedestal, and the next minute you're back in the fucking gutter.
It's a punch to the gut. It's, she was taken ill. Maybe she threw up. Where it's if I
found out that whoever was paying my rent all of a sudden had a wife who wouldn't want to know about me, I would all of a sudden be flashing back to staining England, being like, well, back to the fucking scullery, I guess.
Yeah.
What she does to kind of save herself, we assume, is she marries a man named Timothy Hughes, who was a mechanic. And little survives of his virtues, but we do know a lot about his vices. He was a terrible alcoholic.
Ew.
Even Ross called him an incubus and thoroughly unsatisfactory. And we do note that Fanny uses her real name on the marriage register, though she immediately goes back to, her performative name, where she actually gets Cornforth from Timothy Hughes' family. I think it was his stepfather's last name, and she just took a liking to it, and she said that she'd use it with her name. Now, despite being married, she still goes and poses for Rossetti, and, she does modeling, essentially.
Yeah.
And in 1861, she's still at Tennyson Street in a lodging house using the Cornforth name, and she's still modeling. Ross's paintings don't revert to the original style they had, despite being married to Elizabeth Siddall. But here's the problem. Elizabeth is too sickly for this new style. It doesn't look right on her. It looks odd.
The style was wearing her. She was not wearing the style.
This kind of style needs a person full of life, and Siddall is lifeless. So Fanny is still around and modeling for him to fill this. And of course, Elizabeth Siddall has very little inkling about Fanny.
I'm so sorry, girl.
Every woman in this man's life is wrong. Has been wronged.
I'm so sorry, girl. You were wronged. You said, "Oh, I would love to marry you," and you got better. And then he married you because he was too chicken shit to say anything else.
Yeah.
And then you're like, "Oh, I will become the perfect wife, the perfect muse for you." She sits for him, and then he goes, "No,
you're not enough." So, she has this problem. One, she has a cheating husband that he may not think she knows about, but she might. And she also lost her father. So Elizabeth Siddall has this drug problem that gets progressively worse in 1862.
I mean, yeah.
And the drug of her choice is laudanum. So it is an opiate.
Yeah.
And makes you sleepy. It is definitely something to not be taken in large doses. Yeah.
No, not in large doses.
No. She's getting progressively worse the more emotional turmoil she is in over this. And she's generally sickly to begin with. So
this is one of my favorite paintings.
Exactly. So on our presentation, I have Ophelia. This is Elizabeth Siddall.
Oh,
and a lot of people don't know that.
I'm so sorry. Oh, let me just mourn for her for a second. I love this. I've always loved this painting.
She had to sit in a tub of water for this painting.
Ooh.
Cold
Girl.
water, which didn't do help for her disposition.
He killed this woman. For art is pain.
Yes, art is pain. And all she wanted, was to be this beautiful thing. And she's so sickly looking, even in this beautiful painting of her.
I mean, she's supposed to be a corpse.
Right. But this is that old style where she suits really well for this style because she is so sickly. And it's this medieval maiden.
Yeah.
It's actually called the High Art Maiden. And she does it well.
Yeah.
So this is, the main thing that I think about when I think of Elizabeth Siddal is her, shining moment in this painting.
Girl, there was a painter out there for you that you would have been wonderful muse for.
Right, and she didn't find him.
I'm so sorry.
Because honey. Ross, not the man for these women.
No.
Elizabeth's downfall from this kind of addiction resulted and culminated in her death the night of February 10th and the day of the 11th. So what happened in February 10th and 11th of 1862 was that they went out to dinner, her and Ross. All of a sudden, she wasn't feeling so well at the dinner, so they cut the dinner short. And they went home. Ross kind of got her set up with her maid. And he said, okay, you stay home and relax. I'm going to head out for a drink at the pub. It was called the Working Man's House or something. It was like, it's kind of like an Elks Club kind of vibe. And he goes out, and when he comes back, she has like this odd pattern of breathing, and she passes away. And this is believed to be of an overdose of laudanum. Now, the rumor is that she had a note tacked to her nightgown that said, "My life is so miserable, I wish for no more of it."
Oh.
However, we don't know if this is fucking true.
Dang.
Everyone's so fucking gossipy about the Pre-Raphaelites and their muses that it's so hard to distinguish what's real and what's not. The rumor is that he saw the note, he took it off, put it in the fire because it was so upsetting to him.
Yeah.
But what we think is that
then
this is
who knows that he took off the note and threw it in the fire?
Right.
Who is this third narrator?
Yes. Well, the third fucking narrator, we think, is the work of Violet Hunt. So she's not the wife of William Holman Hunt, which is another Pre-Raphaelite.
More like Violet Cunt.
True, Violet Cunt, exactly. Because she is a author and like a biography writer, and she wrote The Wife of Rossetti, which is supposed to be like this expose on him and Elizabeth Siddal. And she made this rumor essentially that there was this note for the suicide and that it was an intentional overdose. And also that Roz didn't go and get a drink at the pub. He was seeing Fanny. None of this can be proven.
Oh.
So
she was a gossip.
Yes, she was a gossip. And either way, this really fucked up Roz's mental health. He is never the same after this.
Okay, yeah, he's grieving. You don't know how people grieve. It can change person to person, situation to situation. Right. And then you get your public scrutiny and image just ripped through the mud that way, and your dead wife's.
Well, Violet Hunt's biography didn't come out till later. But the rumors were still there.
Oh.
So it still would have happened.
But still, it's his reputation, sure, a little bit slower.
It's not looking good for him.
It's getting torn apart.
It's not looking good for him. And he buries Elizabeth with a book of poems that he wrote for her, and, tries to move on best he can. Fanny ends up moving back close to Roz after he leaves his apartment at Chatham Place, which was where they were at. And he moves into what's called Tudor House. This is on Chain Walk. So you'll hear me call it both Chain Walk and Tudor House. They kind of use it interchangeably. At this point, we're not sure where the fuck Mr. Hughes is. He just lets Fanny do whatever because he's so drunk off his ass or something. Like, that or she just does what she wants.
If I'm an alcoholic and my wife's boyfriend pays for my drinks,
he can do whatever the fuck he wants.
Baby, I'm down at the poor man's working house.
Yeah. Yeah, so overall, this is a risky move for Fan. He's been mean to her before and ditched her for this other woman. And yet she, we do think that she loves Ross because she's willing to keep doing these things for him. I mean, girl, been there, done that, It's, you will do a lot.
Rose-colored glasses.
Yeah.
Thinking of the good times, forgetting about the bad.
Yeah, and this is the best her life probably has comparatively been to what her youth was. So 1863, Fanny kind of like some works that happened around her. Fazio's Mistress comes out. That's a painting by Rossetti that is just super seductive, beautiful. She has like this longing look in her eyes. It does very well. And of course, I think there's like a poem that goes with it as well. And then we have what is possibly the only 2 photos of Fanny Cornforth. Well, actually 3 since they've been discovered. Photos of Fanny Cornforth that we will probably ever have. And they were both, 2 of the 3 were taken in the Tudor House gardens. So one's a group picture, one's just of her looking into a mirror. And this is really important later on that there's only like this limited amount of photos of her. We also have an 1864 William Allingham, who was an Irish poet. He has a diary that we have as a source, and he ends up giving us a brief description of Fanny, but it's a caricature essentially of her. Because he's fascinated with her Cockney accent. So all he writes about is how she talked like this, and she said, "Hey, come here, chickens, here, chickens." Like, he loves how she says the word chickens. He loves how she would like scold Rossetti. Like, Rossetti didn't swear, he said bloody, and she was like, "Oi, Rossetti, I will send you to the scullery." If you keep talking like that. I can't do a very good Cockney, but anyways, she has this accent that's a little more country, and so we get this brief look into what she's like at this point, and people are so fascinated her because of this accent as well, but it also doesn't do her any favors as to making her look like a respectable woman in their eyes. And then at the end of that year in 1864, she actually gets to go to Paris, which is super fun.
Goes to Paris.
So that she's having all this fun, with Roz getting to do all these cool things that she never would have probably ever got to do if she stayed in Staining.
And she's still married?
Yeah.
On paper?
At this point, at some point, her husband does die.
Oh, okay.
I could not tell you off the top of my head if he is dead by 64 or not. But Fanny is essentially displays at this point that she's very abrasive in contrast to Elizabeth Siddall, because they come back from this trip and Ross is explaining to a friend that she bought this like $100 mineral water essentially. And he had gotten this for Elizabeth Siddall at one point too. And Fanny takes a drink of it and she's like, "It's just water."
I love it.
And he's like, "Well, Elizabeth said it had much more healing qualities, so I guess it just depends on who
She was
you are."
talking out her ass.
So essentially, Fanny gets like torn down for being honest, saying, "Hey, I think we were just like robbed $100 for like water." So, and anyways,
I love Fanny. She'd be me.
She's real. She's a real person. She's trying to be down to earth, but because she says these things, Ross can't turn her into this thing in his head that is whatever he wants. So he starts to kind of go off.
Pixie dream girl.
Yeah, he starts to kind of go off though with other women because he can't quite replace this Elizabethan, person in his heart. So on the left of our presentation here, I have Fazio's Mistress. Very beautiful, seductive. She always has this thick, like, lusty neck.
Yeah. I was okay. Earlier when you showed me the first painting, I was like, he's focused on her neck.
Yeah.
Gluck.
Yeah, she always and she also is the only person he paints that always has earrings. She had her ears pierced. Yeah. And
I see that little photo.
Yeah.
She's got her little...
And on the right, we have probably the best photo from the Tudor House photo shoot. I mean, there's the group one, but it's harder to see her
profile.
Just so beautiful. Her hair is just so wavy. Her outfit is so gorgeous. The way, you can definitely see he captures her likeness fairly well.
Yes. Her jawline is,
yeah.
I can see why she's a muse.
Yeah. She does have this,
she's got this wonderful natural beauty
quality to herself. So essentially her last like big grand oil painting, they would call it, of her is in 1865 and it's called The Blue Bower. I really hate that painting. I did not include it on here. A lot of people love it. I just feel like you can see how Ross is no longer like super caring about her. She just looks kind of like he purposely painted her somewhat unflattering.
Oh,
let
me I'm looking it up. So you don't have to see it, but
yeah, I apologize. There's so many.
Oh,
yes,
he got her bad side.
Yes, and yet it's considered a grand work of her. It's one of her most famous paintings. I just don't think that it does her any favors. I mean, maybe that's realism, baby, but I'm not a realist.
But like he's never captured her from that angle, that side.
And I feel like he tries to
far.
capture all his other muses in such like a forgiving light. I feel like it was very brash. Anyways, Ross begins
She
to
has contempt.
Yes, yeah, she
in her
doesn't look,
face.
yeah. Ross ends up turning to his former lover, Jane Morris, who is now his best friend's wife. He ditched
Lord.
Jane Morris, and she went off and found herself a new man.
And then he probably got pissed about it.
So William Morris is, her husband. He's also Pre-Raphaelite, and
Oh, I was saying Roz got pissed that she moved on, got married, has.
Oh yeah, and he wants her.
And then
now.
he was married. He had an affair. He he had a mistress.
Yes, and the funniest thing about this is, for some reason, all of a sudden, Fanny, I don't know if she realizes that she's kind of losing him, and ding dong, she's a medium now.
Love.
And she starts this career as a medium.
Love it.
Talking with the dead, and she has these seances with Elizabeth Siddall to keep Roz interested. She's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, does your new pussy talk to your dead wife?" It's genius! It's genius!
Can the new bed also be shared with your dead wife? Can you have a threesome with only two bodies?
So, we don't know why she chose to do this, but it's pretty clear to us.
Because she's a girl's girl.
So, we don't know if this is 1850s spiritualism, like extended, or if this is a convenient skill she just all of a sudden got. But Roz's friends initially judge her for this, and then they shut the fuck up because they said she's actually quite convincing.
Ride or die.
Truly. So she has these seances featuring Elizabeth Siddall.
She really pulled her friends aside and said, "Shut the fuck up."
Well, it's Roz's friends that are judging her. She has no friends of her own other than maybe a few, people that are mentioned here and there. But she has a seance about Elizabeth Siddall, and in this, Roz asks her, "Can you ask my dead wife if she would approve of like you and me or something, or what she think of you?" And she like thinks about it for a second, then she's like, she says that in life she admits she detests me, but in death she has much softer view of me, kind of thing. And I'm like, she's trying to be like, your dead wife says marry me. Like,
your dead wife, she really hated me in life, but like we've had a lot of like little sit downs.
Yeah,
we've talked.
And he asks if she's happy in the afterlife, things like that. But anyways, she's really happy in the afterlife. She makes herself invaluable to him again. She knows how to like pull the strings with that.
I love a puppeteer.
Me too. Unfortunately, Ross's health eventually begins to decline for a couple reasons. He's not doing too well after her death.
She's sucking his energy.
Well,
and I love that for her.
Psychically.
He
goes fucking blind.
Oh, she's blind.
He's blind. Yes. He goes blind, which apparently is like a genetic thing his family has.
Oh.
But he goes blind.
I thought it was some
he's a fucking painter, so this is his whole career.
Exactly. I thought it was some divine intervention.
Maybe. But his solicitor even says, "Hey, dude, you want to get your affairs in order. This ain't looking good." And so what he did was he signed over his property to his brother William Rossetti.
Yeah.
And he was to give Fanny half. And with this money, she was to go to America and start again. Mind you, Fanny had no idea about any of this. They were planning all this for her. So just fuck her opinion, I guess.
I have a life here. Do you, though?
Yeah, and she had a good life. At this point, she had an expensive house on Royal Avenue. And
dang!
But people blamed her for putting this financial strain on Rossetti because of it. However,
okay, who signed the papers? Not her.
Exactly. And even William Bell Scott, who doesn't like Fanny, said that it was really Jane Morris who was plaguing Rossetti's health, not Fanny. And you know what? Roz's blindness was temporary. He's not blind no more.
What?
I told you, it's a fucking roller coaster. And
what, did he stop going over to Jane or Fanny's for a little bit, and they stopped illness. And they stopped poisoning him for
breaking news. We just discovered how he had blindness. I don't know. All I know is that he was temporarily blind
Dave was poisoning his eggs.
Poison his eggs. But this scared him so badly, having this scare, because he's an artist, he needs his eyes.
Exactly.
This scared him so much into getting his affairs in order and to not putting all his eggs in one basket. So he decided in 1869 to turn to poetry as well as his paintings. And plot twist, he digs up his fucking dead wife's grave to get the poetry book that he buried with her.
Stop. Let this woman die. Let this woman
He fucking
rest.
digs up Elizabeth Siddall's grave to get this poetry book because he's like, well, I already wrote a poetry book, I might as well.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
So if he wasn't fucked up enough already, he got to see his decaying wife to get this poetry book, and he decides to leave London to go to Kent to kind of like,
this man is the most selfish.
Oh, wait, we get to the end. I encourage anybody who has stuck around this far, please stick around to the end for the discussion, because there's going to be so many drops about this. It's so great. Ross decides to leave London and goes to Kent, and he does this because he's not feeling well, but it most likely involved Jane Morris, who lived there. Now, despite this, he does write to Fanny often. We have lots of letters.
Mm-hmm.
So, he does write to her very fondly. And he briefly returns in 1870. And in 1871, he's back at Kelmscott, which is, Jane Morris and William Morris's home. And what do you know? Ross's poetry venture isn't going too well, despite digging up his dead fucking wife.
Was it worth it, Ross?
No.
Was it worth it?
No. His book was torn apart by critics.
Love.
A friend then sends them their own poetry book that they just recently released, and it appears to have an allusion to Ross and Fanny in it.
Ooh.
Now, he can't be sure, but it's enough to send him spiraling. And he attempts to take his life in 1872 from laudanum.
Oh, call back.
And baby, he doesn't call for Jane to come to his bedside. He calls for fucking Fanny to come clean up this goddamn mess that he's making for himself. Mind you, she has no idea what's going on. She thinks he's not doing well and that he tried to kill himself. And that, oh my gosh, she's trying to damage control.
And then there's rumors going around.
Right. Now, once again, he's having to think about who's going to inherit his stuff because he's had a brush with death again.
Yeah.
He signs over her home, Fanny's home, to William again to protect it from creditors in case he gets declared insane, which is smart. So what Rossetti does as well is he starts what's called the elephant's hole. And this is to save for a house for Fanny to eventually let to people so she can have her own income.
Oh, okay.
I think it's funny they call it the elephant's hole.
Yes.
It's her nickname is the elephant.
I mean, she does. She's a larger woman.
And that constantly haunts her. People are always making fun of her weight. At one point, somebody insulted her by calling her a three-waisted creature.
No. I love her shoulders.
I do too, but people didn't.
Like my shoulders.
They thought it was an example of her gluttony or of her taking too much from Ross. Anyways, with the whole elephant's hole savings account made and her house signed over to William, William is happy to oblige because he wants Fanny to be independent and to leave Ross alone.
Okay, yeah.
Because nobody in Ross's family circle or friend circle likes Fanny at this point. They think she's a prostitute, they think she's dumb, they think she's fat, and that she's sucking the money off of Ross and a gold digger, and that Ross just needs to ditch her. So they're treating her.
He's a grown man.
I know, but they're treating him like he can't make his own decisions. There's some financial push and pull that happens after this, too. Ross starts to watch Fanny's finances a little bit more closely. And if she wanted money from him or needed money, like she would, for rent, she would have to directly ask him because he would not take the hint otherwise. And essentially at this point, she's his housekeeper at Tudor House while he's away in Kent. So she is performing some work, and
she's essentially lady of the house.
She's lady of yes, and that's where the cohabitation comes in because she's lady of the house with no legal protections.
No, yeah, not even protection. There weren't really any protections for housekeepers,
right?
There's
no common law.
Yeah. There's just well, you're not his housekeeper. You're not his wife.
So fuck off.
Who are you to be doing all of these things, these decisions?
In the meantime, she loves him. It's very apparent that, no matter what phase of the relationship in, she is a ride or die. In Later in 1872, Ross does begin doing better after he rebounds from this, attempt. And she just hopes that he's going to return to London soon. But he had no intentions of leaving Kelmscott at this point.
Hey guys, just fucking communicate.
Truly, and they were writing back and forth, but it's the wishy-washy.
Hey, I'm not going to come back to this estate. Okay, should I still be taking care of this estate? I would love you to take care of this estate. Start paying me as a housekeeper then.
But because they were lovey-dovey, it was that, oh, you don't have to ask, I'll just do it, kind of thing.
Were they seeing each other even?
Not for this whole time period. They were just writing every bit to each other, saying like, oh, we don't have a lot of like love letters. Yeah. I wouldn't think. It's hard to say. It's like they're a situationship. That's what it is.
So are they? This is more of a time when they were more friends than
right. But it's that ebb and flow. You'll see it's always ebbing and flowing. Mm-hmm. In the 1870s in general, Jane consumes Ross's mind and work. He goes as far as telling his brother William that he needs only two things to be able to fully function and work again, and that is peace and to not be deprived of the society of one necessary person, and that was Jane. Exactly. So the whole thing about this is why? Why is this happening? Why is this one person? Fanny has given him her everything, and the main reasons we think about this is that Roz is not able to possess Jane. She is indifferent to him. Yeah. And that pulls him in.
They want what they can't have.
And due to her silent nature, this allows for men's minds to fill the gaps of who she is as a person. Men love a Build-A-Bitch.
Yeah.
They want to think, oh, what is she so mysterious? What is she thinking about? I bet, oh, she just looked at me. They want that high school crush shit. And she's given it to them because she just is a silent person.
She's in her head going, one time I had a really good cucumber sandwich.
I bet you I can make that again.
I bet I could request that from the kitchen again. I've never even talked to them.
Are cucumbers in season?
Are they in season right now?
That's probably what's going on. And they're thinking this whole time, oh, she's so seductive. She's giving me those eyes. And her eyes are just like fish-eyed, like looking. You know what I mean? Like
she's squinting, thinking, are cucumbers in season right now?
Yeah. And because of that,
Oh, there's a penis.
And because of that, he tears himself up about it. And this just causes his health to degrade more and more. And he begins soothing himself with drugs and alcohol. Roz is still sending letters to Fanny at this point, but they're not always doing her any favors. A good example of this is the porcelain pot story. So this presents an image that like Fanny is like this thieving person, materialistic person. Really, like all the letter says is like, hey, I know you have that teapot you really like from my house. Like, I know you have it. I know it's your favorite, but like, I need it for this painting. Could you just please give me the pot, essentially? And he makes it seem like she took this pot from him and that she won't let him have it. She's living in his house. It's her favorite teapot.
Yeah.
She's his wife at this point, essentially.
Yeah. And hey, can you send me my favorite teapot from the house in the country?
Yes.
No.
I like this teapot. I don't want to get damaged in transit.
Go buy a teapot.
Yes. That whole fucking story, everyone now thinks that she's this thief because she didn't was reluctant. I think she eventually sent it. She's just reluctant to send it because she just... It's her house, essentially. It's her fucking house.
He's boinking someone else.
Yes. She doesn't know at this point.
She knows Roz, though.
Yeah.
This man is not a
So because he's asking, for this item that pretty much in common law is fucking hers, people think she's like a thief and a gold digger.
Because she wouldn't send him a teapot.
A very breakable teapot
probably wouldn't even survive the... Why is he wanting this teapot?
For a painting. Color theory.
Use your fucking imagination, bitch.
Yeah, it doesn't work for him.
Go get a teapot that kind of looks like it and be an artist and create it, bitch.
Exactly. Well, then in 1873, Roz decides that Fanny should go on a vacation on his dime. So he's so fucking wishy-washy with his money. One minute he's saying, don't spend my money, bitch. The next minute,
And then
the next minute
like,
he's saying,
she's spending all my money. And it's like, you're the one who
give
wanted
it
to
all
send
your money.
You wanted to send her to the countryside. You wanted to send her to France. I don't know. What the?
So because he's so wishy-washy, you could hardly blame Fanny for not really understanding the boundaries of this money flow. But he tells her he wants her to go on vacation. And of course, she wants to go to Kelmscott to see him. He freaks out, sends her a letter saying he's much too busy. She should definitely not come. Please don't come here. And he will not allow it. So she holds off on vacation. This on the screen is Jane Morris. So you'll see on the right, there's the famous, and one of my favorite paintings called Proserpine. And on the left is one of the many photos we have of Jane Morris. There are only 2 surviving photos taken by Ross's crew of Fanny.
I love her.
I love her too. And he took hundreds. We have tons albums of photos of her, but only 2 of Fanny. And Fanny was the one holding down the fort the whole time.
Because it's like, put your time into... Also, this gal, honestly, I feel represented. She has a hub on her back like me. And I love her.
Well, the sad thing too is that it's not so much even just the photos and things. There are some paintings of Fanny that Ross painted over her face.
No.
With specifically with Alexa Wilding is what comes to mind. She was another artist that Ross didn't particularly have like a thing with because he thought she was boring, but she had like a super Sphinx-like siren face. Mm-hmm. And so he painted over a couple of Fanny's works. So it's so unfair.
If this man has 2 haters, it's us. If he has 0, we're dead.
Though I'll tell you what, Alexa Wilding came in clutch. She was a girl's girl.
Love her.
In August 1873, she came back from Kelmscott to London from a sitting with Ross, and she spills the fucking tea on what's happening at Kelmscott. She said, girl, he's painting over your face, and he's fucking around with his best friend's wife, Jane Morris. She's like, girl, you don't know half the thing. That's why he don't want you out there. He is fucking around with other women, and you know what? He's giving them gifts. You know why you ain't been getting no gifts? Because he's been giving them to me and Jane Morris. Snaps for Alexa Wilding. Like,
I am speechless.
Girl's girl. So then, if Fanny didn't want to go to Kelmscott before, she really did now.
Yeah.
So she sends this crazy, letter to Ross saying like, hey, I'm coming. And Ross returns the letter so quickly. He is like, don't trust Alexa. She's a dirty liar. I would never paint over your face with anybody else's. Yeah. Right.
Brother.
I was just touching it up. But oh my gosh. It's short-lived because in 1874, Ross returns to London. Possibly from guilt, but I doubt it.
No, I feel like it's so she doesn't go out there to see the physical evidence.
There's more to that. So it's guilt, probably not. Loss of Jane's interest, most likely.
Yeah.
Ultimately, Jane breaks things off with Ross, possibly due to his crazy addiction to a drug called chloral at this point, citing that he was ruining himself with it. And also his paintings of her were becoming more and more disturbing.
Yeah.
The more obsessed we got, with
you
her.
need to, hey, your best friend keeps painting me. And every time he paints, it gets more and more disturbing. What the
Yeah, so she's done with it. She says,
I don't want to see him anymore.
Yeah, she's like, can't deal with his addiction. It's getting fucking weird. So he goes back to London. And of course, he goes running back to Fanny because he can't handle this rejection. His notes to her, because they're living across the street essentially from each other, his notes to her become frequent and pitiful. And there's an event that begins in their letters that I think, a lot of people refer to as the elephant and rhino. And that's where Ross calls Fan the elephant and he's the rhino. So he'll say, oh, if only an elephant would come visit a poor rhino today. It's so cringe.
Brother, that is not a way to get poo-poo.
Yeah.
That is... God,
it's disturbing. It's disturbing. So
I wish an elephant would come over. This elephant's not coming over because you just called me a freaking elephant.
Yeah. Or would the elephant please come over for dinner tonight? I'm having a friends over, or something.
Lord, no.
Yeah. So, but Fanny is probably...
I can be the elephant in the room?
Right. Fanny is probably the only person at this point that Ross could really trust.
Yeah.
Though. So that's fair. And Fanny finally has her man, but he's a fucking wreck. His mental health isn't good, his physical health just gets worse, and he breaks down again with his actual physical health, so much so that his family begins to worry that Fan is going to get a large portion of this claim when he dies. So they begin, his family, to close in on her. Mind you, Fanny is in like her 40s now. This woman should not be a threat to anybody, and she's minding her own fucking business, and they see her as this huge threat. So his mother and sister come home to nurse him and push Fanny away because they know he's hanging out with this supposed prostitute and they don't like it. She's
practically his common law wife.
Exactly.
She's kept it. She's his housekeeper for sure.
Right. Well, if you think about it from Fanny's point of view too, Ross is her only form of security for her future, and she's getting older. She can't sell herself if she ever did again. You know what I mean? Like when you're old and saggy, you're not going to be making as much as a young prostitute if you ever were one.
No, and also if worse comes to worse, you might have to become a madame or something where it's you are
pimping out people.
You are putting other women in these situations, and then it's like
nobody wants this.
Nobody
so
really
it's
wants
scary.
that. And you are pushed to the boundaries of what you're willing to do. So it's like, I don't want to be put in that position again.
No. So she searches desperately for a plan B, essentially, you know? And enter John Bernard Shott. She decides to take that vacation that Roz gave her the money for. And she goes to Margate, England, which is a little seaside, place. And she meets up with a friend called Rosa Villers, who, is familiar with the Pre-Raphaelite circle. There she is introduced to John Bernard Shott, who is Rosa Villers' brother. And, they apparently start a romance. However, Shott already has a wife at the time.
Never stopped these painters and
it's never stopped anybody. But also, apparently, she cheated on him when he was away and had, like, another family. Yeah. So he just couldn't divorce her yet.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, while all this is happening, Roz's health takes a turn and his family decides to whisk him away to Herne Bay. So
it's for his lungs.
So he can convalesce.
Yes.
And he pitifully writes to Fanny and Shott, fearing that he will soon be ill, because he knows about Bernard Shott at this point. He fears that he will soon be ill and that he will need his family constantly. And he tells Fan to take the best stuff in life she can and forget about me. He also tells her to not ask for money because he's, very ill. And that makes people believe that Fanny's this gold digger because he's telling her not to ask for money. But he's her main supporter at this point.
At this point, one of the biggest contentions and
because her and Shott aren't married yet.
And stressful moments or stressful things in his life is his family being worried about money and his family being worried about what he's doing with his money. So he's like, hey,
they're all up in his business.
They are
right now.
all up in my business. I literally cannot send you $8.
Yeah. And that's what he tells her, like the family is making this complicated. I can't do this. I'm sure he was glad that she had found
and she
Bernard
was probably
Shott.
like, I wasn't going to ask, but okay.
Right. But this letter really upsets her because he's saying like, go off and forget about me. Do the best you can. Do the best you can in life. And she's kind of like, dude,
okay, call his bluff.
Yeah. So she kind of does. Ross magically begins to feel better. What do you know? It's fucking yo-yo diet with death for him.
No, I think that anytime he has a little bit of stress, his tummy gets upset and he thinks that this is the ulcer.
This is the end.
This is the ulcer that's going to take me.
It's the big one. Right. He ends up looking forward to coming back to London to Fan. And conveniently, though, Fanny is also his chloral hookup. So that's another reason he's keeping her close at hand.
And they're thinking that she needs him for money. She's a fucking drug dealer.
Right. But Ross comes back to London. He goes to Tudor House to find her because that's pretty much where she's living. And when he goes home, Fanny's not there. He doesn't know where she's at. But what he does find is a little parcel with the house keys in it. He believes that she's mad at him for not paying her 2 quarters rent, which she had asked him for. But unknown to Ross, Fan had been turned out of Tudor House and had to surrender the keys. And this is really a sad moment for Fanny because this was her home. Essentially, she barely, lived across the street. That was just,
But, how does he expect her to still be in a place that he knew that he was paying for and he had not paid this bill in?
That's what I kind of wonder. It's very fuzzy in the sources where it's like, Was she kicked out because of rent? It sounds more like she was kicked out by his friends and his family.
Yeah.
Saying, hey, get your non-rent paying ass out of here.
Yeah.
So what we have after this is a letter from Fanny, kind of, explaining, because Ross just thinks she's mad at him, and he's actually mad at her because he thinks she's mad at him.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm not going to ask you if you're mad at me. I'm just going to assume that you're mad at me.
Yeah, so I don't know why you're mad at me. Why would you leave? Because he can't believe why she would leave. He's dumbfounded. So Fanny writes to him in this long letter saying, "My dear R, you surely cannot be angry with me for doing what I have done after receiving such a letter from you telling me I must forget you and get my own living. You could not expect me to remain in the neighborhood after what had taken place. Dunn frequently passed my place," Dunn being another, in the circle, "on the other side of the way, and in the middle of the avenue with a sneer on his face, and I concluded that he was rejoicing in my downfall. Of course, my intentions were to remain there until I saw you again. I have been living on my savings for some time, but your letters led me to suppose that you'd tired of me. You shall never say that I forsook you, although I felt it very much when other women were put in my place, when not wanted, keys taken from me, and that is the way I was treated for taking your part. I hope that I shall see you again and be with you as before, but I never wish to meet any of your friends after the cruel way in which I have been treated. I must tell you that my address is now 96 Jermyn Street, which is the St. James Street end, and it is a hotel. I keep 3 servants and an accountant, and Mr. Schott still interests himself for me. It is much better than a lodging house where I should be often cheated out of rent and get people I do not like. I must impress upon your mind that I have none of your pictures in any part of my house except for my bedroom and private sitting room. I took this step thinking I should never be with you again, and thought it a certainty. Trusting that you are getting right again, I remain yours affectionately, Fanny." What a cold shoulder, and also the amount of hurt in the letter.
You can feel it.
That she, thinks that all this has gone down. His family's pushed her away. She can no longer live with them.
Also, she's been with this man for how long? She knows how he interprets things. She's like, no, I'm not leaving you any room for interpretation.
And I know about those other women. And I still stood right by you.
I know that you would say that I moved because you stopped wanting to pay for me. No, I had my keys taken away from me. Your friends have been stalking me. Your friends have been bullying me. I am an adult woman.
I'm an adult woman, and yet they're so threatened.
Literally.
That they are pushing her away.
I am an adult woman in my 40s.
Yeah.
And these men are trying to bully me. No, I'm taking myself out of the situation.
She's like, I'm done.
And also, I have none of your photos, and I love that for me.
Right. Well, she's not completely done, but it is a defining moment for her. We don't know why Ross trusted his family to deal with Fanny in any way while he was away, and he has this audacity for being angry that she's leaving him. But Fan goes on to assume the role of landlady at a place called Rose Tavern with Mr. Schott. So that's their new business venture. And she does this supposedly without using the Elephant's Hole fund that Ross had for her, which he can't fathom why she hasn't done this. And he also doesn't know why she'd want to leave Tudor House.
Because it's another thing he could lord over her.
Right. But also shocker she didn't want to leave Tudor House.
Well, the thing is also, it's like, do you want me to be a gold digger or not?
Right. Pick who you want.
Because you keep on telling me, no, you don't have to work. No, you don't have to do this.
He's playing a game, but he keeps changing the rules.
And then, oh, why don't you wear these dresses? Why aren't you wearing this? I don't have money. You want me to live up to this standard, but you won't let me get my own
when she's
money.
A woman, what else is she supposed to do?
But anytime you pay for something, you call me a gold digger.
Yeah.
Make that make
sense. At this point in her life, she doesn't have a trade, Yeah. She's gotten older.
She wasn't allowed to have a trade.
So this was not the end for Fanny and Ross, though. Their correspondence does persist, and they end up having more frequent notes, when Ross is ill.
Don't go back to him.
He begs,
I feel like a best friend
begs
right
to
now.
See her.
No.
And if Fanny is essentially running, and she does come back, she's running both Rose Tavern and Tudor House at this point.
Jeez.
And 2 years in, since 1879, Rose Tavern isn't doing so well. Bernard Shaw is not a good businessman.
No.
And Roz's friends are delighted about this. They hope that this will be the end of her.
She's living rent-free in these elderly men's minds.
Truly. They hope this is the end of her. But what they don't know is that she likely was able to just keep afloat by obtaining chloral for Ross.
Yeah.
So
joke's on you.
Haters gonna hate.
He's still supporting.
Right. They have this really, it's so toxic.
What?
So toxic. So Ross decides they need a holiday. And he wants to take Fanny on this new holiday along with his memoir writer, Thomas Hall Caine. So, enter Thomas Hall Caine. He's going to be like this secretary biographer kind of character. Mind you, Mr. Schott's not going on this vacation with them. He's just taking his wife on vacation.
Mm-hmm.
But also...
Bye, darling.
But to be fair, Bernard Schott, he liked Ross.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have proof that he would do like errands and stuff for him when he was ill. So like he knew about the whole situation. So Thomas Hall Caine ends up going on the vacation with Roz and Fanny, and he ends up not liking Fanny. He thinks, pisses me off, he thinks she's a gossip because she's trying to tell him interesting, unsavory stories for Roz's memoir.
She's like, no, this happened.
Yeah, she's like, no, you're not gonna believe this. We had a party once, and Caine is just like, oh my gosh, she's like, I don't have that salacious gossip.
I don't have that dress anymore. It was set on fire. That's how crazy this party got, okay?
Yeah, and he's like, oh, what a fucking salacious gossip she
Girl,
is.
I'm not even gossiping.
And she's not. She's just trying to tell him stories. But Thomas Hall Caine, his main problem is that he has this Superman complex about Ross. He thinks that Ross can do no wrong. If Fanny were to flat out tell him that Ross was cheating on, through all these things, and that, he did all this stuff, he'd be like, oh, I don't think he'd do that. And it's not, it's so biased. It's everything about this.
So this man is trying to say, I don't think he'd do that to the woman who he's lived with, that his Superman has lived with. It's like, no, Superman would never do that. And Lois Lane going, this man has skid marks in his.
Yes. All of these biographers around the Pre-Raphaelites and their muses are so biased. It's so hard to find good, reliable sources. And that's why Christy Stonewall Walker is such a gem in this whole community of it, because she actually cares about the primary sources.
We're sending her a card.
Truly. Send her like a bouquet. Anyways, the trip does have its really sweet moments. They have, a lot of good memories, but it starts going south. There's some trouble in paradise because Roz and Thomas go for a little walk, during which Rossetti asks him to write up his last wishes, giving Fanny everything.
No, not to Thomas.
Everything.
Not to Thomas.
Everything. Thomas is disgusted by this, and he outright refuses.
Yeah, of course he does, because...
This is allegedly. Allegedly.
Okay. It's like, why would he be telling Thomas this? He probably knows Thomas doesn't like her.
Because Ross couldn't read a fucking room if he had it on a book or on a temperature gauge. He can't do it.
So what you're telling me is that Ross is a broken thermostat.
Yes.
He cannot read the fucking temperature of any room.
And Thomas thinks that this is all like has to do with his chloral addiction. So he tries switching his chloral with water, and Fanny rats him out. Because Fanny's like, this is his pain medication.
Yeah.
Like, Ross is like, Ross is so sick that you can't tell if the chloral is helping him or hurting him. Mm. But it's probably helping him pain relief. I mean, who knows what he had at this point?
Yeah, it
could have been cancer or something.
Morphine, not saying that this is morphine, but it's like giving someone morphine for the pain.
Yeah. So Fan rats him out for trying to do that, and Roz is like, you know what? Maybe I have been taking too much. I'm gonna cut back a little bit. And they're like, okay, happy medium. Fanny decides to leave for home early from this vacation because Ross wanted to stick around.
You ever see somebody who
it wasn't going too well,
who is in pain, not get their pain medicine?
Yeah, it's her loved one.
And then them thinking that you did not give them the right dosage or something, right. And then you get the bearer of the brunt. She's his hookup too.
Yeah.
So he's like, this batch is bad.
Yeah. While Fanny and Ross are away on vacation, Ross's family hires a nurse for him. And this essentially is to make Fanny obsolete so that there's no need for her to be around him. And this really ends up pushing her away. She spends no time at Tudor House really at this point. She ends up receiving what would be unknowingly a final note from Ross in 1881 saying that he could not see her due to his family still being in the house, which is, it's very pitiful and sad.
Yeah.
And worse for Fanny is that the Rose Tavern goes under. In his final illness, Ross is whisked off to Kent, essentially, and he is forced to draw up his will with his mother and his sister present, meaning Fanny gets nothing.
Oh, shit.
Nothing. Because they didn't like her and they didn't want him associating himself with a supposed prostitute.
Even though that she's been his
ride or die,
or like
for years, decades.
He's been her
decades.
not only, but like her quote unquote client.
Yeah.
For decades. Okay, sure.
And on his deathbed, he asks for Fan. He is with Thomas Halkane, who's documenting this whole process. And he sent that last letter to her, and he still hasn't heard back from her. And he says, Thomas, any word from Fan? And Thomas says no. And he says, you'd tell me if there was, wouldn't you? And Thomas says, of course I would.
And he's lying.
And Roz says, my poor Fan. And that is the last we know of Roz for him and Fanny. When Fanny did write back, she received a letter from Roz's brother William stating that Roz had already passed and that she had missed the funeral. She gets no closure.
No.
To any of this. Decades of service and love to this man. And she has just completely missed the funeral of her loved one.
Yep. And that's it might be something in my brain, but that's something that I've always really fought with, where it's like society has kept so many people from just being able to die happy
and truly mourning,
and or being able to mourn properly,
right,
or the way that you feel you need to, because of where it's like, no, you can't be with this person who your heart is drawn to, right, because she's a prostitute. How do you think I met her?
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
like, it's just like, what's the most important times in your life? I feel like when you die and who's around, right, and when
he asked for her, he wanted her to be there.
Who is on your mind the most?
Yeah.
You want some closure.
He obviously did love her.
I think that he might have been obsessed with her.
Yes.
The idea of her, and
yes,
she got tired of that.
But she still, regardless, still cared for him.
But again, society, what else was she supposed to do?
Right. Well,
you're in a catch-22.
Despite him dying, she can't get a fucking break. In 1883, she opens up a memorial gallery, essentially, of his paintings.
Mm-hmm.
And this was extremely looked down upon by all his friends because they saw it as a money grab because, of course, you charge an entry fee.
He's dead now.
Yeah. He's a famous artist. He was famous then. He's still, he just got more famous since he died.
An artist who was famous in life.
Yeah.
Once they're gone, they stay famous.
And she's destitute. I mean, she has her husband, but their businesses don't do well.
Mm-hmm.
But she eventually turns her attention to being a mother to Cecil and Frederick Schott. Because Schott already had 2 kids from the first marriage. Fanny never had children.
Okay.
Despite being very hardy. There's suspicions about birth control. But so
never recorded children.
No. Mm-hmm. So she intends to be, this very supportive mother for these 2 children from Schott's first marriage.
Mm-hmm.
And John Bernard Schott eventually dies in 1891. At that point, Fanny has to start making ends meet. Now, Cecil, he's off on his own. He's going to be a painter. He's not even in the country of England at this point. But Frederick is kind of sickly, and she takes care of him. So she has to start selling off her personal collection of Roz's paintings to make ends meet. And they kind of just trickle away. In 1892, she meets a very important person in the selling of these paintings, and that is Samuel Bancroft. Maybe one of the only fucking men that she could be friends with in her life.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was fascinated with her, not in a sexual way. He was a fan of the Pre-Raphaelite movement and an art collector.
Mm-hmm.
And he
was a fan of fan.
And so he was a fan of fan. So he wanted all the details. He's like, oh, tell me everything.
He's like us. Give me the nitty gritty.
Give me the nitty gritty, And so he visits her in June and he buys some paintings. He pays her for information, And they end up contacting each other through the years. Sometimes, Frederick will write to him for Fanny, and sometimes, she'll write. But in 1893, Fanny and Fred end up having to leave their home in Drayton Gardens, and they leave no forwarding address. So Samuel is kind of concerned, but he discovers that they're renting a 3-room area, 3-room letting in Fulham Road for 10 shillings, of which Rosa Villers is helping pay rent. And Frederick is very ill. Unfortunately, Frederick dies in October of 1893 of paralysis, and Fan writes to Bancroft to tell him this, for which he sends his sympathy and a little money. In 1903, moving forward 10 years later, Fan writes, again, she constantly writes back and forth to him. But she writes again in her last letter to him saying that she'll be unable to see him that year, but she will send him photos. And in 1905, an old friend of Bernard Shaw writes to Bancroft saying, hey, Fan's not here at this address anymore, and she's been taken away to somewhere near Brighton by Rosa Villers. Ultimately, Fanny was taken to a workhouse by Rosa Villers, and she had become irritable and shown signs of dementia. She was too combative for the workhouse, so she was sent away to Graylingwell Asylum, which was progressive for its time. So it wasn't as horrible as what we think of as an asylum, but it is still an asylum for the elderly to convalesce. And after suffering a fall from which she never truly recovered, Fan passes away in 1909 from pneumonia at age 74. Today, she is buried in Chichester Cemetery without a headstone in a common grave. And this was a recent discovery. In about 2015, Christy Stonell Walker discovered this Graylingwell Asylum stuff from an archive, I believe, and also had a picture of Fanny in her old age looking very distraught. So this is the end of a woman who lived a very full life, but a life of strife, essentially. If I kind of want to make it a pilgrimage to Chichester Cemetery because I want to weep over that common grave. I believe that Christy Stonell Walker is working on getting a headstone for this, or a memorial of some sort. But oh my God, I would just bawl my eyes out. I would just cry. I feel like Fanny has experienced something that a lot of people have experienced: the situationship, the unrequited love, the trying your hardest and it's never enough. The constant
I cannot
struggle.
Be who you think society needs for you, but you're still willing to use my body.
Exactly. And so we have these discussion topics essentially at the end of Fan's credibility. She is never considered a credible person, all because of these rumors that she was a prostitute.
Again, did you ever ask the woman?
Right.
And I know that we probably have, of course, her correspondence and everything, but it's like, again, I just really wish people would just go up to people and be like, I would like to hear your side of the story. Just write it down for me.
She's robbed of credibility.
And then you put 5 of those stories, eyewitness stories, and see what the common denominators are. And then be like, well, we have 5 eyewitnesses to this, this, and this. It's just, I cannot get over the fact that she might not have even been a sex worker. She might have just been.
And yet this haunted every being.
Standing
she
outside.
Might have just been a country girl. Country accent, not very refined, and they're just putting
they'd make a Hallmark movie out of the situation. Nowadays, country girl goes to a festival, gets swept off her feet by an older painter, an older artist who tells her, "You're the most beautiful thing I've ever seen." First time she's ever been outside of her home
and experienced something other than death, drudgery, and like financial instability.
And then when she's cast aside for the first time, she's like, well, okay, I'm going to figure out what to do. There's nothing for me to do.
She is a survivor of
Yes.
life, you know, she to the very end, and you know,
And anytime that she was cast aside,
she found a plan B.
she found a plan B. That's the thing. It's like, no, she did not keep on. It seems like he kept knocking on her door.
Yeah, they would not leave.
And
They wouldn't leave him alone. You know?
or anytime that she would like send out a correspondence, it's kind of like, hey, you're responsible for this.
Yeah.
And then he'd be like, your eyes are beautiful. And then she'd be like, I know they're beautiful,
but I need money.
But, yeah.
And that's another thing to discuss is her poverty. She is condemned for being greedy, a thief.
Mm-hmm.
He is handing her money constantly for different things and then taking it away. Yes. And then handing her money, taking it away.
It's financial abuse.
It's financial abuse. Yeah. And there's, you know, how are you supposed to trust your tomorrow? What are you going to eat? What are you going to live off of? She knows true poverty when she was growing up.
Yes.
She does not
She does not want to be pulled back. And then sadly she died.
Yeah. And he offered her nothing in the way of marriage and sort of solidarity. In
a form of poverty, in a form of she was tossed aside. And that's
so wrong.
Heartbreaking. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah.
And I would love to go on a pilgrimage with you.
Yeah. Because can both cry.
Yes, because it's granted also as
they will stare at me like a complete weirdo. They'll be like, why is this woman crying over this common grave? And I'll be like, you don't get it. You don't get it.
And then I'll walk over and be like, you see, as historians, we
right. You know.
No, it's just the fact that her name and her image is renowned and everything, but nobody knows her name is connected to her image. But then she can't be divorced from this man.
Like never married.
No, like her image cannot be divorced from him, because it's like she had not met this man. She would have just been a landlady or something, you know, like she would have figured it out.
Housewife.
Yeah, she would have figured it out.
Yeah,
because every time that he tossed her aside, she figured it out.
Yeah, so she could make it for herself, but
he kept reeling her in.
Yes, and then people kept saying she was wrong for it. They're like, oh. It's like Ross is willingly giving her this lodging, money, gifts, trips. He's willingly giving this to her. At some point, the blame has to be on him.
Yes, and he won't correct the people.
No.
Saying that
he lets them think
that she's a gold digger, and it's like, yes, she just took a vacation actually with my money. You begged her to take that vacation.
Yeah.
You
didn't want to go alone.
You made all of the arrangements.
Yeah. And then, of course, you know, there's the problem with her looks, is that as she gets older and bigger and people start making comments about that she's no longer like this beauty.
And then when the rumors start gathering up and becoming a little bit louder of them being, you know, together again, he tosses her aside.
Yeah.
And it's like,
he compartmentalizes all his women and going on. I think it's time for me to reveal to you what this man looks like.
Oh, Lord. No! Honey, moves!
For anybody who's still listening,
honey,
to give you a visual, I want you to imagine Edgar Allan Poe, but like 10 times uglier with a receding hairline and man boobs.
No!
Honeys, love yourselves.
Honeys, that's what we're going to leave you with this week.
We'll leave you with loving yourselves.
And you know what? When in doubt...
Not saying Fanny didn't love herself, but I'm saying...
No, but also, when in doubt, have at least one good girlfriend who can be like, girl, you need to block him.
Wake up.
Girl, you need to block him. You need a good friend that when you show...
He did have money, though. He did have money.
When you show them his picture and they have to stifle a laugh...
Yeah.
You need that wake-up call.
Yeah.
You need that wake-up call.
Yeah.
Please, honeys.
But, you know...
If your best friend's reaction to a picture of him is... Lord.
Yeah,
you're gonna have to do some reassessments.
He was not worth all this, because this is a lot to go through for that.
And it's not because of the looks. It's usually whenever,
because you can be a 5 and still be a great person.
whenever this happens, it's usually she has listened to so much shit you've told her and the shit he's put you through, and then finally she's like, okay, this has to be Brendan Fraser, George of the Jungle-esque style type of,
to put up with this.
It's like, honey, why are you putting yourself through this? And then she shows you a picture of him and you go, what? Why are you putting yourself through this?
Truly.
And it's like, well, why are you making it transactional? We did not initially make it transactional. Y'all made it transactional.
Yeah.
Okay. What the fuck are we getting out of this?
Truly.
Public ridicule?
Yeah.
Personal ridicule? Emotional ridicule? Out of your soul. When you get up to St. Peter at those pearly gates, he's gonna have a PowerPoint like what we just did and say, all for this dude? Exactly. And then she's gonna have to go, oh, Lord.
Well, it's been fun.
I walked through the valley of darkness.
It's been fun, guys. I want to give a big shout out and thank you. If you're interested in this topic, you really should check out Kirsty Stonewall Walker's stuff. I did have plenty of other sources and primary sources along with this, but her stuff was the most helpful, the most professional, the most in-depth with it. I like to think that in this podcast, I got to go off in the unprofessional way that she wishes she could about
Truly.
This man.
Amen. Amen, sister. We're gonna need to send her like a box of chocolates.
Yeah, maybe not. Maybe she'll be like, oh, this was a terrible. If she ever listens, she'll be like, this was way unprofessional. And I'm like, you know what?
We never claimed to be professional.
Rag on this dude. We never claimed to be professional. Something needed to happen.
Yes.
Justice was needed for Fanny Cornforth.
And I hope wherever his consciousness, his soul is right now, I hope that he heard us laughing.
I hope so.
And I hope that blew a little hole in his ego. You know what? Because Fanny could have blown a hole.
She was real. She was honest.
Huge in his ego. But she didn't. She's classy.
Classy. Be classy, everyone. We'll leave you on that note.
All by myself. That man looks like that. And yet he was getting putang everywhere.
Yeah.
What?
Hystorians.